Egypt is where we will begin our journey. In my search for truth, I delved deeply into the mythological writings of the Nile River civilization. I was completely stunned by what I discovered, and my view of ancient history and religion was permanently altered. Chapter 1: The Pharaohs' Volcanoes. If we examine the popular literature concerning ancient Egypt, we find a plethora of books with unsubstantiated claims of a bizarre and speculative nature. Alien visitations, past lives, flying machines, genetic manipulation, nuclear power, acoustical power, Martian visitation, etc. are some common themes. A recent book explains that Egyptian religion describes an exploding planet between Mars and Jupiter. The more serious scholars of mythology and religion, often tucked away in their ivory towers at various universities, expound in learned tomes regarding the meaning of myth. Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell express theories regarding the collective unconscious, or the hero's journey. Schools such as structuralism and modern psychoanalysis spew forth in endless streams various convoluted interpretations. What about the scientist? Often blinded by compartmentalization, he or she continues on the tradition of previous researchers. Modern Egyptologists still recycle the century-old story that Nile Valley hunter-gatherers were for some reason obsessed with magical and seemingly incomprehensible chants to guide the newly dead person into an abstract heaven with abstract gods, quite similar to some modern religions. Rare indeed is the scientist who breaks free of the walls surrounding his or her particular department and attempts to look elsewhere. However, they do exist. In 1939, Sigmund Freud wrote Moses and Monotheism, in which he states that Java, or Jehovah, was probably a volcano god originally. In 1969, Oxford scholar J.B. Luce stated that certain passages in Hesiod's Theogony could be interpreted as a classic description of a volcano eruption. In 1973, Indiana University scholar Dorothy Vitaliano, in Legends of the Earth, Their Geological Origins, strengthened the connection between geology and mythology when she coined the term geomythology. Finally, in 1992, Mott Green, a MacArthur Foundation Fellow, continued on where Luce left off and gave a detailed analysis of Hesiod's volcanoes. His most important contribution was bringing Zeus solidly within the field of natural phenomena by linking him with what is called volcanic lightning. This was a very important contribution that I will discuss shortly. For my part, I pored over ancient hieroglyphs for months and months and searched through used bookstores and university libraries for obscure and ancient texts. In this chapter and the next, I give a summary of this research that led me to an astonishing and unexpected conclusion, that the Great Pyramids represent volcanoes. Though perhaps this is not so astonishing when you realize that at least some etymologists believe this word, pyro plus mid, means fire in the middle. In this book, I purposely ignore the mathematical and astronomical correlations that have been claimed for the Great Pyramids. Other books and articles have discussed these in detail, and some interesting correlations undoubtedly exist. This book will focus on geology rather than astronomy. The Nile River Valley. If we follow the Nile River upstream, we progress through all of ancient Egypt. We cross upward into the Sudan, the land of the ancient Kush. We progress through Khartoum, where the Nile has split into its two main branches, the Blue Nile and the White Nile. The White Nile flows from Uganda and the Blue Nile from Ethiopia. It is hard for some people to visualize this on the map. The Nile flows from the south, so as one goes further south, one is going up into the highlands and mountains of Central Africa. Either way we go, we eventually run into numerous volcanoes, which are the result of the Great Rift Valley.